Join me, John Randall, at the North American Banking Company Minnesota Golf Show, February 13th through the 15th. It's your chance to try out the newest clubs and equipment from the biggest names in golf. Improve your game with free lessons and clinics from PGA pros. And when you're done, relax at the 19th Hole Lounge with your favorite post-round beverage.
Tickets on sale now at mngolfshow.com. Save $3 with advanced purchase. Each ticket includes 14 free greens fee passes at area courses. Learn more at mngolfshow.com.
Josh Arnold, investment consultant, brings you Garage Logic podcast number 1692, January 12th, 2026. 48 degrees was the record high on this day. That was in 1987. And it was 31 below on this day in 1912. Call Josh Arnold at 952-925-5608 for a free 48-minute consultation.
Hail the flashlight king.
Hail you! And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Soucheray.
We've often talked about so much fakery on the social medias. Mm-hmm. It's breaking my heart to discover that some of this stuff I watch is fake. For example, even car restorations or old watch restorations or old gun restorations. You ever seen any of those videos?
Yeah, all of the above, yeah.
A lot of them are fake.
How so?
It's killing me. There was one of a kid who claims, the film shows him finding he's going through junk piles in some third world country.
Yep.
And he finds a Rolex watch that's just in indescribably bad condition.
Okay.
And then the video is of him restoring it to its glory. And then all these commenters are pointing out that it's fake, and they point out the reasons why. And I was a little crestfallen.
Yeah,
I wanted to believe that the kid was actually doing that.
You were fooled.
I was. Mm-hmm. I was.
You don't like to be fooled. Again.
And then there was a guy that he rescued a Bugatti, brought it out of the rainforest or something, and it turns out that was all BS. And it just kind of breaks my heart.
And a lot of these shysters, they're greasy. They don't tell us that it's AI generated. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you make an announcement and saying this is AI generated and I'm using this to prove a point, fine. But don't try to pass it off as reality.
Where are we after the weekend, boys? The 72-hour rule is come and gone. We are clear to say whatever we want. I continue to not believe what Kristi Noman tells me to believe, and that will result in another rash of emails from people who will never listen again because they think mouthy lesbians deserve to be shot. Well, I don't. You get to be a lesbian, you get to be mouthy. Oh, well, then why was she in the middle of that? I don't know, and I don't care. So she wasn't.
Well, that's what led to her getting shot.
No, I understand, but her car was not weaponized. In my eyes, I realize that in the eyes of many people who've contacted me, many of whom have law enforcement experience, they believe her car was weaponized. To me, she was trying to leave. And then I said, well, if I give you the front window shot, will you trade me for the two through the side window? And then I get a lot of the vets contacting me and say, no, you have to finish the job. You got to keep going. Your adrenaline's on fire. Okay, I get all that. But I just don't buy it in this case. Sorry. Don't listen again.
Okay, but let's not canonize her.
I'm not canonizing anybody.
You're not, but others are, and she's not ready for sainthood. She did not deserve to be shot. I completely agree with that. But
well, that's neither here nor there. It's not apropos to what happened.
As a result of her being shot, I don't think she needs to be canonized or celebrated.
Wait, pause, Matt. What is an apropos, Joe?
Her canonization.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
See, who was the gal that Noor shot, the Somali police officer, an Australian. She was from Australia, living in South Minneapolis. She went out to investigate a noise at night, and then she was shot in a very controversial manner that resulted in the trial of Noor.
Justine Demond.
There it is. Thank you.
There was not one single protest of that.
No, there was not. They were not walking in the streets.
Well, okay, I guess. Was that because I think I know why there was no single protest, and it wasn't because she was white.
Why do you believe?
No protest? John, do you have the year on that? Was it 2017?
It was.
Yeah, 2017.
Yeah.
Wow,
We were on the path to, but had not yet reached all public actions decided by political allegiance.
Say that again. That was a.
We were on the path to. Trump was a year into his presidency, or what? A half a year into his presidency, and we were on the path to, but not yet consumed by political fealty. In other words, okay, Kenny, help me.
Just a few facts here. There was vigils where she was shot, and then several days after the killing, hundreds marched to the Beards Palisades Park in Minneapolis. I should know how to say that. I don't.
But still not citywide.
But in her memory.
Correct. No violent protests.
Right, in her
Just
memory.
Vigils.
Okay. We were on the path to, but had not yet reached the point where we are today, where these public actions, whether it's a shooting or a tariff or whatever, they're decided on who you're politically loyal to. Mm-hmm. And back then, that wasn't the vibe of Minnesota, which has adopted that political ideology choice. As more or as most as any state population has. I believe things now in Minnesota will only be judged by the politics of it. I can't say that word.
The politicalization? Politicizing.
That word.
Okay, that being said... And
I hate that term.
I don't like that term. I don't want to jump around, but... How do we address Tina Smith, Klobuchar, Ilhan Omar trying to get into the Whipple building? Is that a big political stunt, knowing full well they...
That's an anticipated political mechanical operation that they would do. But what's interesting about that is that because they're Congress people, they have what's called congressional oversight. Okay. In theory, they're supposed to be allowed there. There's no time limit. But Kristi Noem decided, no, you need a week's advance. You have to tell me a week in advance if you want to go there. That's new and apparently invented out of whole cloth.
Okay.
I'm no fan of Tina Smith, Ilhan Omar, and I don't mind Amy. I've known her too long.
Right.
But... They
let them in. You're saying
prior to Kristi Noem, prior to political fealty, they would have been let in. In 2017, they would have been let in.
And what were they looking for going there?
They give you that song and dance about we want to see how the detained are being held, and they wanted to make sure they weren't being given bread and water or whatever. I don't know.
Okay,
but that's what Congress people do. They enjoy that privilege of being in Congress, congressional oversight.
Do you think the Angie Craig, Tom Emmer argument on the floor was a stunt, or do you think that was passionate? Or was that one or the other, Angie trying to get in Emmer's face to knowing the cameras are rolling?
Again, to me, it was an example of your side.
Okay.
She was attacking Emmer because he's a Trumper, and he was attacking her because she isn't.
Anti-ICE.
So we're in a foul way here.
Let's take Greenland and move over there.
I don't want to do that either. Under what possible right do we have to say we're taking over Greenland?
I don't think we need Greenland. We got our own problems here.
The Danes invested their time and human capital in Greenland. We didn't. When people got on those leaky boats to come over here and have that fake Thanksgiving with the Indians,
Yep.
they didn't go to Greenland. They came here.
Same here.
Plus, Greenland already lets us do whatever we want in terms of it being a military outpost to keep that hawk eye on Russia. You want to go up there and throw another satellite tower up, Greenland won't mind.
Right. That's enough for us.
There's 56,000 people there. I don't think we need to take over Greenland.
There's more people in an Eden Prairie church than in Greenland.
If you take over Cuba, aren't you begging a war with Russia?
Yes. Why do we want to take over Cuba, though?
I didn't know Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, was such a Marxist. I had no idea that she was so far left, but she is, and the Trumper's got his sights set on Mexico. That's a big
You don't
chunk
think
to chew
overtaking
there.
You
Venezuela
mean
will
what I
change your
brought
mind?
up comically last week?
Yeah, old Mexico.
Oh, I had no idea that was a real thing.
Yes, Kenny would call it old Mexico because we already have a new Mexico.
I was just trying to be ridiculous because it seemed like a ridiculous notion. I had no idea it was a thing.
Stop being so real.
Did you see Christy Nome and Jake Tapper get into it?
I missed that.
Did. Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Is he now CNN?
Christy frightens me in the sense that she is really devoted to her own version of an event, and she doesn't care what I saw. She's going to tell you what you saw.
Yeah, facts
I'm not.
don't matter.
No, Christy, you're not telling me what I saw.
But I mean, that's an individual thing. I think what you and I saw are two different things on Portland Avenue.
Yeah.
Meaning what?
And I don't.
She softens it
I
up.
don't necessarily agree with Joe.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we're not going to argue about it.
No, I'll just tell you why you're wrong.
Yeah, and I'll do the same, and we'll get nowhere.
Right.
And then we'll go back to talking about things we do agree on: cars and motorcycles and boats.
I can tell you, I'd like to talk about
Combines.
ice, in the smaller case, ice. The ice we have on the streets and sidewalks.
Yeah, you and I both went down.
I went down hard Saturday, and I think I dodged a bullet. I don't think anything broke, but boy, I had to crawl across an expanse to grab a fence in order to stand back up
Seriously?
again. Yeah.
That's not good.
And I'll tell you where it happened. Right in front of Mike Fratelloni's father's house.
Okay, I know where that is.
Yeah, well-
right over there on Main.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Was there-
should sue him.
Don't talk like that. Was there a dusting of light snow on top of the ice?
Where I went down, there was.
Yeah,
Yes, there was.
That's what did me in too.
So let me ask you: Did a casual passing Garrison Keeler pick you up off
No,
your?
it's funny you say that, though. There was a guy who witnessed the whole thing walking towards me. Never said a
Just
word,
walked
just
by.
got in his car.
I'm not
I
going
would
to help
walk
this
by
homeless
and
man.
I would have walked by and said, "Break time's over. Get up. Let's go here."
So now my new, till April, apparently, because we're not people in St. Paul, don't buy salt.
Yeah.
I think from now on, I'm only walking in streets.
No, you're
And
not.
Kenny hates that.
Time out.
Kenny
No,
hates
no.
that.
Time out. You know why that's bad?
Oh, of course I know why it's bad.
You're
I
not
had to
doing
make
that.
I had to make a delivery to the William Marvey Company on St. Clair and Brimhall.
Know it well.
That's where McLaren's Learn to Learn business is. I had
Yeah.
to drop off a shelf. I pulled in with the Volkswagen
Yeah.
right by the garage.
Yeah.
I got stuck. I got stuck
Just on glare ice.
On Brimhall. I had to have Mick push me out.
Well,
That's your
Matt,
bad
for
tires.
example, Matt, let me straighten you out.
You guys, neither one of you two are GLers, are you?
No, he isn't, and I'll tell you why he isn't.
Go.
When I say I walk in a street, Matt, that doesn't mean I'm walking on a street like Brimhall, which is still ice covered.
Which you can
I walk
skate
in
on.
streets where the pavement is visible and dry.
So you would choose not to make your delivery on Brimhall.
right.
Can I
Carry
might
the
have
shelf off of St. Clair.
I maybe might have a worthy suggestion. Things may have changed since I moved away, but I always used to be blown away and amazed when I would drive into work at 5 in the morning and see that the walking paths and the bike paths were better plowed than the streets.
That's still true.
So just cross over the river, park right there at the lock and dam on the other side of the Ford Bridge, and walk from there.
You do what you want to do. I'm walking. I have some streets that I've scouted out, and they're not that heavily trafficked. Although they are heavily trafficked enough that there's no ice on them.
If you want to do what real GLers do, like me, you ride your snowmobile out to the middle of the woods. You strap on your snowshoes, put your rifle on your shoulder, and you go for a walk.
Has there been a lot of snowmobiling up your way?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Because you got snow.
Yeah, we've got about as much as you.
Well,
You're going to have more. We're almost gone, aren't we?
there's
Joe,
still
if you walk in the street,
Yeah.
do you walk toward traffic that's coming at you or on the side that traffic is on?
Question of the day.
Good one, John.
Well, I don't have sidewalks up here, and I walk a lot in summer. I walk against traffic so they can see me coming.
Good. So you
I
can
will
see
walk.
them.
Yeah.
It varies. I will switch. During the course of a walk, I might tack back and forth, depending where the sun has been most effective in drying the pavement.
Got it.
Well,
I can't go down again. If I go back down on my right shoulder, it's over.
yeah, you're break a hip age. That's
It's
what you
over.
are. Yeah. The idiots that have moved to the country and they bring their
Excuse
city
me, I
ways.
would like to think I'm not at break a hip age.
I guess I wasn't talking there. Yeah, you are actually, though. Knee replacement age, break a hip age. You idiots that have moved to the country, you like to go for a walk, but all you have is a 55, 60 mile an hour highway nearby. They always walk against the flow.
Well, for God's sakes, I'm not walking on a highway. I'll walk on a city street.
You know, one thing leads to another.
No, I'm not going to go out to
you'll
the
be
freeway
on 35E,
and start
practice
walking.
freeway,
No.
shaking your fist at people doing 45.
Hey, what's going on here?
Hey, slow it down, pal.
Boy, that's still cheap entertainment, though.
It is.
To drive on the practice freeway at precisely the speed limit and watch people
Joe.
become infuriated.
Joe, I watch it in the morning and I become infuriated.
Oh, God.
I know we're close to it. What are you doing going 45 during rush hour?
The whole war that took place to build the practice freeway, because the hoi polloi. No, what does hoi polloi mean? I don't think it means what I think it
The
means.
snobs.
No, I don't think it means that. That's
Well, polloi means the upper crust, doesn't it?
well, the upper crust
And ahoy
lives
means
on
hello.
the hill above the practice freeway.
Hoi
Crocus Hill.
polloi means the masses, the common people.
Yeah, see, I've been using hoi
common.
polloi.
Hey,
wrong.
common man. What did
It's
you
the
just
hoi
come from, a
polloi that's
Scotch inn?
using the practice freeway. The upper crust up
The
there,
aristocrats.
the aristocrats
Yeah.
fought it because they didn't want the noise. Well, the compromise was to make it a practice freeway. It's called a parkway.
PF.
Yeah, it's called a parkway. But it's got real freeway hunks at either end, so it's a practice. You can practice on it, and then when you get to the real part of the freeway, you can step on the accelerator.
You're
What I
gone.
love, Such, is even Joe Souchere haters call it the practice freeway, and they have no idea that you originated
know.
the term. It's so fun.
I know. But anyway, the aristocrats fought. The bumper sticker was RIP 35E. See, I'm old enough to remember that. You're not.
I remember when Aid Mill Road went to nothing.
This is the
I'd.
practice freeway.
I'm sorry.
RIP 35E. And the settlement was, okay, let's compromise. 45 miles an hour, no semis, and no clover leaves and all
Hey,
the
I
highway
have a
stuff.
question for Gabe. Gabe, can you give me the time and temp? Prevent
can I get the
common
time and temp?
engine problems, run better, last longer. Even on the practice freeway, Seafoam will do all of that for you and more. It's safe, it's proven effective, and it's been helping us with our engines since 1942. It started in the late 30s when, well, you know how it is. You're a GLer. A guy got fed up. I'm sick of fighting this outboard motor. He went to work. He figured out a solution. His buddies found out. Then more buddies found out. Next thing you know, it's the mid-40s. He's in business. It's now one of the best-selling automotive additives in North America. Everybody uses it on everything. It's because it's proven. It fixes the top-end problems, fossil fuel, fired cylinders, gas and diesel. You put it in the crankcase, and it works all that gunk loose. And the next time you have an oil change, it just magically flushes right out. It's available all over everywhere, and it's truly a wonderful product. In a world of bad gas, it's GL's favorite. It's Seafoam.
There seems to be a lot of confusion about the role of local law enforcement with these ICE people in town. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Walz and the mayors of both towns, Minneapolis and St. Paul, it's different in various cities outstate, but they have ordered that their law enforcement is not to be made available to help ICE. Technically, local law enforcement is available to help in the event of traffic problems and right. So far, I'm on the right track.
Crowd control, not interacting, but crowd control.
Crowd
keeping them
control.
away.
So to say that that ICE is being deprived of help, for example, that's because Minnesota is a sanctuary state, which is not helpful in the sense of having ICE here. Mm-hmm. Well, they're probably not going to spend a lot of time in a state that's not a sanctuary state. They also seem to spend time in states that are blue as opposed to Trump states. So it's very understandable why they're here. B, it's very understandable why local police seem to be always standing down. They've been forbidden to do anything.
Right.
So that leaves us with the presence of armed federal troops wandering around our city streets. And we have a lot of listeners who are really, really comfortable with that. I'm not, but I'm just an odd duck.
No, that should raise your ire to see that, to see federal agents walking around on a Cleveland Avenue or a 44th Avenue South.
And I think it's still holding until Christie writes another letter. I think it's still holding that the ICE agents cannot enter a private home. They can knock on the door, but they can't enter the home without a warrant.
They did do that yesterday in St. Paul.
They did do it.
Yeah,
they're not supposed to, is my understanding.
Yeah, they had a warrant apparently to arrest a person, and it was signed by an immigration officer, but it only authorized arrest in a public area. But they broke down the door and went into the house and grabbed the person, apparently.
I wonder if it was a drag of society, someone that committed murder or rape.
Well, if they have a warrant for arrest, obviously.
They didn't.
Yeah, John just said they did.
In a public place.
Right.
Why didn't they lure the guy into the front yard then?
He wasn't a rando, Joe. They knew who they were looking for. The law, if they broke one, was entering the house.
All right. I'll accept that.
I know of an example at the airport where a plane was full, and not full. A plane was boarded, and there were ICE agents there that wanted access to the jet bridge, and were told, because they wanted to verify that someone was on board the aircraft, and they were told they didn't have clearance to board the aircraft, so they had to wait at the gate in the airport. So they don't have full access to everything. They're not law enforcement. They're federal government guys, but they're not law enforcement where they have access to every place they want to go.
Well, we have more on the way. Are you aware of that?
I am, unfortunately.
Christie announced yesterday that hundreds more federal agents are coming to Minneapolis as the Department of Homeland Security carries out what officials are calling, this is the largest immigration operation ever. In Minnesota is the largest one. Just like we have the largest fraud, this is the largest immigration operation. Agents will arrive in the metro yesterday and today. The Minneapolis area now has one of the largest concentration of Department of Homeland Security agents in any American city in recent years. There are more than 2,400 federal agents, more than double the number of local coppers. Homeland Security kicked off Operation Metro Surge. That's what this one's called.
That's a tidal wave of ice.
They kicked it off last month, which officials say led to more than 1,000 arrests. A week ago, the department announced the funneling of about 2,000 more federal agents into the Twin Cities area in a month-long surge amid the state's widening fraud scandal. All right, but the fraud might be very well. Walz is a citizen, isn't he? And Keith Ellison is a citizen, and the people Walz put in charge of his state agencies are citizens. So what does that have to? I mean, they're the fraudsters.
Okay,
Plus the Somalis who are stealing the money. A lot of them are citizens.
So So with them bringing more people into town, let me ask you this question: if they're looking for Matthew Mikulski, who is illegal and has committed crimes, and he works at Hubbard, and they come to get me, I understand that if they're trying to get the bad guys. Why is it that if you're walking on Summit Avenue or you're walking on Plymouth Avenue North, can they say, "Do you have your papers?" That's the part I don't understand.
And that makes a lot of GL listeners. That doesn't bother them.
I'm upset by that.
That doesn't bother them. That bothers me.
If you're looking for the guy, go get him. But
is that a proven fact, or is that a social media?
Well, it's been seen done.
I have never seen it
look
done
at the guy. Look at the guy waiting in the Uber line at the airport with the wonderful video of the back and forth he has with the ICE agents. He just sitting there in his car, and they want to see his passport. And he said, "Why? Let me see yours."
That's the part I don't get. Are they allowed to?
No,
I don't want them to be.
I didn't understand yesterday too. You probably saw the video of the group of agents going through the Midway Target.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't with Bovino or Bonino, whatever. The
Greg
leader
Bovino
was leading them through there, and there was maybe 10 of them. And I thought, well, what are they going to do?
Is that when the guy's aggressively walking after the guy in the vest that works at Target? And he tries to go back. And okay, yes, I did.
Were they looking for a criminal?
I don't know. But that's what I mean. Yeah. He can't ask the guy at Target with the vest to say, "Jose, can I see your papers?" Because they're not after that guy. They're trying to get Jim Toro over there, wherever it is, and he's got a record. So I take him away. He's a bad guy. But don't go after the guy in the vest saying, "Let me check your paperwork." That's BS.
Someone very close to me was hassled. Very close to me, not by ICE, by protesters, the counter-protesters who were in favor of ICE.
Going up to somebody, "Hey, what are you doing here? Why are you?"
Yeah, really
interesting.
Really got me. To the point where I think if I had been there, I might have done something rash involving a firearm.
That's the problem. But is that what both sides are looking for? To get into a fight?
Because the country has lost its ability to reason. The country has lost its ability to slow down and fact-check everything. The fact-checking will probably result in the exoneration of this ICE agent. But the problem is, well, I'll just leave it at that. We're having many more of the fellows arrive, and they're here, and they're on the way, and we have another large footprint coming here to ensure that we get that mission under control and that we conduct very effective, unabated immigration enforcement. U.S. Customs and Border Protection Commander Gregory Bovino told CBS News. He's the little guy that's in charge.
Yeah.
Got the crew cut. So.
But are we trying to get Mexicans? Are we trying to get Somalis? Who are we?
They're trying to get criminal histories, national security risks.
But that I understand.
You don't do that in the aisles at Target.
Right.
Do you have proof? I mean, I read a lot of nonsense on social media on both sides, obviously.
Well, then, in theory, shouldn't we all be carrying our passport? Because apparently my license isn't good enough.
My wife is carrying hers because she looks like she's Mexican.
I always thought she was.
Everybody goes and talks to her. She's like, no, I'm. But I said, if she does present her passport, tell them half your family has lived here since the beginning of time in America. The other half came in 1630 with the Fairbanks.
I mean, I'm just asking for proof here. There's a really interesting story in today's Star Tribune about an alleged doctor that allegedly offered his services to an alleged agent on Portland Avenue, and the alleged agent allegedly said no. And they admitted, the writer of the story admitted, they have neither names or any proof that this happened, yet it was printed in the Star Tribune as it was fact. And so now people are going around saying it as it was fact, when in fact it was hearsay, and it could be completely contrived nonsense. All I'm asking for is proof of all this stuff that you guys are saying. I'm not saying it's not true. I just want proof.
I don't know what the story says, Kenny, but there was a video of that exchange out literally the day after the shooting. Literally. Of the guy standing.
No, the day of the shooting.
Yes.
So there is actual evidence of that. The Star Tribune story did not say that.
Let's break it down further. There is evidence of that exchange. But I suppose you could argue, well, was he really a doctor? That's the part you don't know. He said he was a doctor. I probably would have believed him at the time. Okay, you're a doctor. And the other guy said, no, we have our own medical people.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. I guess my point is I don't know who to believe. And
that's the problem.
Yeah. And I think we need to be very careful about saying that ICE is doing things when we don't know for
I don't
certain.
believe in the federal government. I don't believe in the state government. I don't believe in the city government. I don't believe in anybody right now.
Such, the only thing I did show-related over the weekend was read Thomas Paine's Common Sense.
Yeah.
And I came to the conclusion that we'd be better off under British control.
Yeah. The experiment didn't work. Can we start over?
We need to abolish
We
everything.
made it to 250, and that then imploded.
It was a nice run.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an interesting bit of writing, if you can get past all the FU words.
Okay, just bring us back.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
I have a nice note here. Hail the Flashlight King.
Hail you!
My daughter and I had just pulled into the drive and were enjoying the last of our Jimmy Johns without interruption when a UPS man strode by and sent a package to the door. As I walked by, I swore I saw the Masters Maples logo on the box. Having just returned from an oncology appointment, I have to admit my dauber was down a bit. When I saw that label, I immediately perked up. I practically ran into the house and greeted the GLer of the Week News with the same enthusiasm as the father for a Christmas Story movie. As I used my Ken Onion Hootenanny pocket knife to carefully open the package, I tried to explain to my wife that I, too, had won a major award. She rolled her eyes, of course, but I was undaunted. I took my time to carefully open the package and just take it all in. Thank you so much for the gift. My taste buds are pretty much a wreck at the moment from chemo treatments, but the smell of the bourbon barrel-aged maple syrup was intoxicating.
Damn.
It's been a tough couple of weeks around here, but you made my month. Thanks again. Happy New Year and good luck, Paul. Paul is Paul Hansen, Walleye on a Stick.
Oh, sure.
From the fair.
So basically, that syrup is curing cancer.
Well, he says, P.S. I've been given a tough cancer diagnosis recently, but am marking goals on my calendar, including making it back to the state fair this year.
Yes, Paul, come on.
I know Joe has said he was done, but we would love to see him there so we can sponsor the show like we did last year.
Yep.
You know, if a guy fighting cancer can make it back, I probably would have to.
Yep, I think so. Paul, Godspeed. You got it, baby. You got this.
It was a blast and one of the highlights of our season. As for me, the Lord has given me great peace in the midst of this storm, and I have been overwhelmed with gratitude for life that I have had and the life I have today and whatever life I may have left. I may have cancer, but God is good. Well, good luck, Paul. Best of luck. I'm glad you were the GLer of the week.
Yeah.
Although I suppose people will suspect, foul play there because he was one of the guys.
Favoritism, and that's okay. We will do that. Grab a rosary and pray to Padre Pio or Pio.
Oh, my mouth
is
watering now for walleye and a stick.
Yeah.
So good.
Let's see if I'm being told not to read this. I am not being told that.
You know, you've been trained pretty well.
I'm learning.
You read it, and then at the end, don't read my name.
I'm learning.
Yes.
The title of Friday's podcast, Does Anyone Even Like This State Anymore?, resonated. Just last week, after over 3 decades in Minnesota, I used the word hate for the first time in relation to the state where I spent over half my life. I moved to Minnesota from Nebraska just after you started your radio show. Back then, I truly loved this state, even the Twin Cities, despite rolling my eyes at the politics. As a heartland conservative, I viewed Uptown, City Pages, and the Twin Cities Reader as progressive wildlife preserves of a sort, an opportunity to observe and occasionally experience the other side, even as the craziness remained contained. If I'd known at the time the lunatics would escape the asylum, I would have taken them more seriously. My opinion as a 3-decade observer is that progressive Minnesota have crossed a line from ideology to mental illness. I don't know how else to explain it. Progressive policies have, as you regularly point out, destroyed this state. Yet our leaders in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the State House brazenly doubled down with the full endorsement of the blue splotches representing major population centers. This is particularly ironic since the policies negatively impact them more than anyone. This is sociopathic behavior. If you saw a family member exhibiting similar self-destructive tendencies, you would have them committed. When I observe the chaos unfolding on Twin Cities streets, I see people who have been taught more about pronouns than about how revolutions like the one they're engaged in will not end well for no one, least of all them, since they have no survival skills. They will learn soon enough who has been shouldering the financial burden, and after things inevitably collapse, the producers will not be inclined toward generosity. The Center of the American Experiment offered a T-shirt that said, "Stay and fight," encouraging some Minnesotans to resist the temptation to flee. I'm in a class of people who have no choice but to stay. I'm trapped by home prices and interest rates, and while it's the best possible way to be trapped, it puts me in an untenable position. Rest assured I would escape this soon-to-be hellhole in a heartbeat if I could afford to. The biblical admonition comes to mind, shaking the dust from your feet and departing, allowing the foolish to suffer the consequences of their behavior, incapable of grasping wisdom. You know things are bad when Jesse Ventura seems like the sane gubernatorial choice. Good luck, Tom from St. Paul. I think that Jesse, I wish he'd run, because here's another thing that's going to happen. Here's another thing that could happen. The political alignment with your choice is so strong and so impenetrable that particularly in this state, the people opposed to the very existence of Trump will choose anyone in place of Trump. Most particularly, of course, they will choose a Democrat. But in this state, we could end up with the worst possible Democrat for governor, for example, and that person would be voted in because that person represents their political loyalty. So we could end up with God knows who as governor of this state.
I'm gonna
Peggy Flanagan, who would be just horrid, just a terrible, terrible mistake. We don't know yet.
I would take Governor Ventura at this for 100%.
Amy,
Somewhat middle of the road.
Amy Klobuchar seems to be, if I had to guess, she's the one in charge of shuffling the deck. She's the one who had a little come to Jesus meeting with Walz. And I don't know what Amy has up her sleeve. The people Amy might appoint to fill a Senate seat, for example, would pass Amy's muster. It would not pass the muster probably of GLers.
Well, wouldn't it be Amy along with party donors?
Yeah.
I mean, party donors are the ones that really control things.
And the party donors will exist until they, too, run out of money, because the state is on a trajectory downward and becoming too terribly expensive and too foolishly and incompetently run. And this action right now, this ICE action, is only exacerbating. It's going to here's my fear. It's going to re-elevate Walz. The fraud will see to the people who are opposing ICE. The fraud right now seems like small potatoes.
It's been thrown
They
aside.
don't care about it.
Yeah, you're right.
It's been tossed aside. It's not part of their conversation. Their conversation in Minnesota right now is to rid the state of ICE. And if that means welcoming every possible illegal who can fit here, they're all for that. That's fine. Just so ICE isn't here. ICE has eliminated fraud from the talking points in Minnesota. It has not eliminated fraud from the talking points nationally. It's still a breaking national news story. The incredible amounts of money taken, the incredible amounts of money still to be discovered. That is a national story now, but in Minnesota, the average prematurely gray-haired 42-year-old woman is way concerned more about ICE than she is about fraud. And it's almost giving Walz a pass on this.
What are you concerned about?
I'm concerned about both. I'm concerned. I understand they're completely separate issues. I want them both handled.
What would you do about ICE?
Well, my one plan is highly mocked, but my one plan is to withdraw them and send them back only after the worst of the worst. You can't go into Target and just get Miguel because he doesn't have his passport with him. Come back. Get every bad guy and woman you can find.
So
and don't announce your presence. That way, nobody will be protesting.
So you agree that we do have an illegal immigrant problem?
Yes.
Well, they've been coming in for the last...
They've been coming in for years and years and years, and this state, following its progressive nose, couldn't wait to make this a sanctuary state, which was to say to the feds, we don't believe in you, we don't want you, so we're a progressive state. We're going to hell, but our handbasket's going to be full of illegals, and we don't want you here. No, there are bad illegals here. They need to be removed. And I would summon all ICE agents back to wherever their headquarters is, and I would say, in 1 month we'll be returning to the Twin Cities, but you're going to have 14 people that you're looking for. And here's all the dope we can come up with on those people.
The problem with that 14 is there's actually 1,400.
Well, I don't know that there's 1,400.
Well, we know there's more
okay,
than
if there's 1,400, then we're going to cite those. We're going after those 1,400.
Yeah, it's this word. I think we had this conversation off here. This word that I hate so much, optics.
Right.
It's not making the effort look good.
No, it's not.
And part of the problem, like you brought up earlier, is Minneapolis and St. Paul will not provide officers at all. So now they're doing their own crowd control. And then when you see these guys with masks on and then dark sunglasses, that's an optics situation. And for a lot of you, that's unnerving. I don't live there anymore, so I don't see it. So it's not unnerving to me at all.
Yeah, I really think outstate people have no feel for what this is.
Yeah. I heard they were in Alexandria over the weekend, and I just kind of,
Yeah, because you're remote or wherever you are. You won't tell people where you are.
What's that old, John, you and I talked about this off the air last week, that old bromide, when they came for so-and-so, I said nothing, and it goes on and on until they finally come for me, and there was nobody left to say anything. Yeah. I don't know that fits in this situation.
Might be a little too harsh for the situation.
Yeah, it might be too much, but I certainly understand, I guess.
Would you agree that the way ICE is currently operating is not only a bad optic, but is it efficient?
This is back to our CIA snatch job.
Well, it's a horrible optic the way it's taking place.
Do you mean it just seems like they're randomly
It just seems too hit and miss. It's just whack-a-mole. I would rather have ICE come back here unannounced with 1,400 names in there.
Well, they're not announcing things, but they've got this whole very organized protest system where they follow their every move, and they even know what hotels they're staying at. And I think it requires ICE to have more and more officers on any given situation just to protect themselves. I don't know. That's my speculation.
They don't seem organized.
Yeah, they're very organized, Matthew.
They may, but I'm just saying, as far as the.
But is that for us to judge?
But 4, 5, 9, and 11, when they show this, and they show them going down 35th Avenue.
Let me zero in on something that Kenny just said. If you need protection for what you're doing it wrong. If you're going to tell me that 2,500 ICE agents need protection for themselves, you're doing it wrong.
I think I disagree with that.
Well, I don't care if you do. I'm just telling you why you're wrong.
Okay, wait though. So,
does a cop need protection to do what he does?
No.
Yeah, definitely.
What?
Well, no,
they're regular patrolling.
Every time they stop a car, they don't have 14 other cars watching them.
So
the ICE people need to do what they're doing.
But there's not a concerted effort for Minneapolis. There's not bands and bands of protesters following squads around in Minneapolis or State Patrol or county.
But they are ICE. They're.
Therefore, I would conduct my ICE operations differently. I'd start over. I'd come back into town. Don't tell anybody you're here. Maybe ditch the masks.
I don't like. But okay, so they're going after the baddest of the bad criminals that are gang guys. So,
but see, I can't. I believe that they obviously would take a bad guy when they find him, but they're also hassling too many innocent people.
I agree with that 100%. There's no reason to go up to Myrtle. The 75-year-old Mexican lady.
Do we have proof of Myrtle, or are we just reciting something we read on social media?
There's too much video of that. When you walk through a Target store, what are you doing? They didn't walk through the Target store because they had word that 3 rapists were in there. They walked through a Target store. Let's see what you got. Let me see your papers. Go bleep yourself.
That's what I would say if they asked for mine.
Well, then we'd be in jail. Okay. We'd be in.
That was about 10.
Okay, but that's.
You know what?
That's just it.
We're learning, okay?
But that's just it.
I'm going to pick on you on every level today.
It really is. Happy Monday.
God, I can't win here.
Not with me in the room, no.
Let's go to Johnny Height. He might have some interesting things to
John,
say.
Can you clear this up for us?
Probably be a lot of stuff we've already talked about.
That's fine.
I'm guessing, and
Let's continue to try to put everything in context.
This news, by the way, as always, thankfully brought to us by North American Banking Company. In local news, concrete barriers are being installed outside the Bishop Henry Whipple Federal Building today as tensions continue to rise between protesters and federal immigration agents. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said Sunday, as Joe already told you, that hundreds more federal agents are coming to Minnesota, joining the more than 2,000 U.S. immigration and customs enforcement agents in the state. Noem said the extra agents will help federal officers conduct their work more safely. The announcement comes as more community members demonstrate and demand ICE leave the state. Protests have steadily grown since an ICE agent shot and killed 37-year-old Renee Good last week in Minneapolis. In another clash between the sides last night, tear gas apparently deployed, that at the Bishop Henry Whipple Federal Building. And meanwhile, we touched on this. There are new questions about the legality of a new policy to restrict Congress members' access to federal buildings. On Saturday, Angie Craig, Ilhan Omar, and Kelly Morrison conducted an oversight visit at the Whipple Federal Building. Representative Morris said, "We were briefly allowed entry into a holding area and then very abruptly removed. We were not able to meet with any of the detainees." The Trump administration had filed a letter in court Saturday, which issued a new policy. It's dated January 8th. Signed by Noem, it said facility visit requests must be made a minimum of 7 calendar days in advance. Any request to shorten that time must be approved by me. She wrote, "The basis for this policy is that advance notice is necessary to ensure adequate protections for members of Congress, congressional staff, detainees, and ICE employees alike. Unannounced visits require pulling ICE officers away from their normal duties. Moreover," she added, "there's an increasing trend of replacing legitimate oversight activities with circus-like publicity stunts." The filing is part of an ongoing court case about oversight visit access. A dozen members of Congress sued Homeland Security, ICE, and Noem, and acting director of ICE Todd Lyons, after a 7-day waiting period and other restrictions were imposed back in June. Minneapolis police said an individual accused of spray painting messages on multiple businesses during a protest on Lake Street has been arrested. According to police, the suspected vandal, later identified as 24-year-old Francis Steinhauer, was seen by officers spray painting on a Metro Transit bus that had been stopped in traffic along Lake Street around 7 o'clock Friday night. Police said as the march continued down Lake Street, he was seen spray painting on multiple businesses, including a theater, a church, a Minneapolis school building, a Hennepin County healthcare building, and a Target. When officers went to arrest Steinhauer, he ran from the area but was taken into custody a short time later. The arrest came less than 24 hours after Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara and Mayor Jacob Fry called for protests to remain peaceful and warned that any destructive behavior would lead to an arrest. Meanwhile, 2 of Minnesota's top prosecutors have announced an independent investigation into the fatal shooting of Good by the ICE agents. During a news conference on Friday, Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty and Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison revealed that their offices will work together to collect and preserve evidence which it will share with the BCA in an effort to support a state-level investigation into the shooting. The BCA announcing in a press release it will collect any evidence submitted. Moriarty's office has launched an evidence submission portal where people can upload photos and videos. Another Republican candidate for Minnesota governor has announced his running mate. On Monday, this morning, Scott Jensen named Pudaivan Wilkerson as his choice for lieutenant governor, selecting a law enforcement veteran and first-generation immigrant for his ticket. Wilkerson has spent 30 years in law enforcement, according to Jensen's campaign, including time with the Dakota County Sheriff's Office, and now with the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, where she's a sergeant focused on recruitment and public engagement. She's previously worked in patrol, court security, and as a crisis negotiator. The announcement from Jensen's campaign says Wilkerson's family fled Laos in the early 70s in search of freedom when she was a child. Her father was executed, and Wilkerson and her family spent time at a refugee camp in Thailand before resettling here in Minnesota. Jensen says with Wilkerson, his ticket presents a clear choice for voters. It's a stark contrast from Jensen's last bid for governor. Remember, he picked former Minnesota Viking Matt Burke as his partner in a campaign that earned the GOP nomination but fell short in Governor Walz. Jensen is the second Minnesota gubernatorial candidate to announce a running mate after Speaker Lisa Dameth's selection of Ryan Wilson.
I would vote for Deputy Wilkerson before I'd vote for
Dr. Jensen.
Come on, man.
Why is he running?
Do the Republican Party a favor. Just be done.
He's a nice guy. I just don't think he's got what it takes to overcome the overwhelming odds to beat a Democrat in Minnesota.
Minneapolis-based Sun Country Airlines is being acquired by Allegiant Air in a deal valued at about $1.5 billion, the company's announced yesterday. The airline says the merger will create a leading leisure-focused U.S. airline and bring more travel destinations to their service. Combined, the two airlines transport about 22 million passengers every year.
I don't know if I trust an airline based in Las Vegas. It's just me.
Well, Allegiant has upped their game over the years since their 60 Minutes
Does anybody work on the planes?
Well, if you go back and watch the 60 Minutes interview on Allegiant, the guy said, don't ever fly Allegiant, but they have upped their game a bit. And what this means for Sun Country is probably...
I'd rather land in that plane that landed upside down.
Well, this probably means some layoffs for Sun Country. And I
guess we're not going to get their account, are we?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Will it be called? Will Sun Country still be called Sun Country?
Yes, they'll still run as Allegiant and Sun Country, but under their Allegiant umbrella.
I'm sure they're fine. I'm just having a bit of sport.
I'm sure the Jude Bricker, the CEO of Sun Country, will land on his feet.
I think so.
It's too late now, Joe. You're not going to get the account. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm still working on it, though.
In national and international.
It's better than the name Value.
Yeah, I don't want Value
I'm not flying any airline that says Value.
Or World.
I want it to be very expensive airline.
I see Value. It's just a bunch of benches up against the windows and a whole bunch of strap hangers.
Yeah, I got the bus
straps. A strap.
There's litter on the floor. And
the old military planes where they're just sitting waiting to jump out.
Yeah, they're all jumper seats. Or jump seats, excuse me.
In national and international news, the Federal Reserve received grand jury subpoenas from the Justice Department Friday, stemming from a criminal investigation into its chair, Jerome Powell. Powell said in a statement Sunday, the subpoenas threatened a criminal indictment related to Powell's testimony before the Senate Banking Committee in June 2025. The project and Powell's testimony came under scrutiny by the Trump administration, with Office of Management and Budget Chair Russell Voigt accusing Powell of leading an ostentatious office renovation project that may be violating the law. In his testimony to the Senate, Powell called some descriptions of the renovation project misleading and inaccurate. He told lawmakers there isn't any new marble aside from what's necessary to replace broken old marble, and said there are no special elevators, as was reported. There's no new water features or rooftop gardens, disputing claims made by the Trump administration.
Does he have a ballroom, John?
Not that I'm aware of. Reviving a campaign pledge, President Trump wants a one-year 10% cap on credit card interest rates, a move that would save Americans tens of billions of dollars, but drew immediate opposition from an industry that has been in the president's corner. Trump was not clear in his social media post Friday night whether a cap might take effect through executive action or legislation, although one Republican senator said he had spoken with the president and would work on a bill with his full support. The president said he hoped it would take place January 20th, 1 year after he took office. Strong opposition is certain from Wall Street, in addition to the credit card companies, which donated heavily to Trump's 2024 campaign. Banks are making the argument that such a plan would most hurt people at a time of economic concern by curtailing or eliminating credit lines, driving them to high-cost alternatives like payday loans or pawn shops. Widespread protests across Iran entered their third week yesterday, a continuation of the largest anti-government demonstrations in the country since 2022. Human rights groups relying on activist report networks estimate roughly 540 people have been killed, at least 10,000 others arrested amid the crackdown. The unrest began December 28th, sparked by a plunge in the value of the Iranian rial and surging prices for food and goods. Accurate reports of the scale of protests have been limited by a near total internet shutdown by the government. Bob Weir, a founding member of the Grateful Dead, whose rhythm guitar work, songwriting, and touring helped push traditional American blues and folk music into the modern era, has died. He was 78 years old. The statement said he had been diagnosed with cancer in July, beat the cancer, but, quote, succumbed to underlying lung issues. Across more than 6 decades, Weir was one of the music's true road warriors, performing thousands of shows with almost a dozen bands. And though he often stood figuratively and sometimes literally in Jerry Garcia's shadow, Weir eventually assumed the status of elder statesman of the band. The elder statesman status saw him playing with dozens of other well-known musicians from pretty much every genre of music. Tributes poured into social media all weekend from those musicians who had played with Weir and who were good friends of his. Again, those tributes coming from the whole spectrum: rock, jazz, R&B, soul, country, bluegrass, and everything in between. Bob Weir, dead at 78.
Did you ever see him live, the Grateful Dead?
Never saw him live.
I did.
Twice.
I just did once.
That's what turned me against him.
Well, I must admit, I did reach a point where I said, I'm leaving.
I
went on
realized
too long.
Their customers do not know how to handle drugs. They're all amateurs. It was just despicable watching these losers try to handle drugs. I saw a really fun social media post from the past over the weekend, John, where one of these burnouts said, "How many Dead shows have you been to?" And Bob Weir himself answered, "All of them."
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I loved a lot of their stuff.
I liked everything but the psychedelic stuff that was 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
They
I
didn't
don't
have
need
the
a
ability
guitar
to do that.
solo, a drum solo, a fiddle solo. I don't need those long, boring, trippy, stupid solos. And I don't need you stinky, burnt-out hippies tripping all over yourself and slipping on your own vomit.
Well, that's a nice way to send Bob Weir
isn't
out.
that nice? Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks,
those
Bob,
are the
for
worst.
the memories.
I saw a perfect clip this weekend. It was him and Garcia alone with acoustic guitars on Letterman show.
Yeah.
2 songs, and it was
I Will Get By.
it was wonderful.
No,
it was
FM
2 blues
Radiohead,
songs.
please. Yuck.
Two blues songs.
Ripple?
What was Garcia's girlfriend's
Ripple's a
name?
great song.
Mountain Girl? Was it Mountain Girl?
Something like
Something
that.
like that.
He had a lot of girlfriends. Yeah. But
Well,
you said Garcia, right? Not Weird.
yeah, Garcia.
Yeah, Garcia's girlfriend.
Yeah, watch this sign.
Hey,
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
to you, buddy.
Right.
Peace out.
Did that work out for you, kid?
This is
Yeah.
what I saw.
Yeah.
I saw
I
this.
can do 2. I can't do.
You can't make a 3
My 3s are tough.
with his
man.
fingers or with the pencil.
My
John, you're
message
still
in-
doing the news.
Oh, I am.
closing,
Okay.
Yeah.
My message to deadheads, learn how to handle your drugs, losers.
Well, the deadheads are now all about 80, so if they're around now, they've got it figured out.
Trying to get that horrible music out of their eyes. It's a great line. It's a great line.
Our buddy, Mr. Mishke, followed him around, for a long time.
Well, that explains a lot.
No, it doesn't. That's actually a mystery to me because Tom is smarter than all of those people.
But he loves roots music, and
Yeah.
when they were the Dead I liked, they did roots music.
Yeah.
So it made sense to me. And I've talked to him about this many times. He just liked the whole community aspect of it. So,
Ugh, gross. Take a shower.
in other news,
Learn how to
Muhammad
roll a
Ali
joint.
once joked that he should be a postage stamp because, quote, "that's the only way I'll ever get licked." Well,
Whoa.
he now is becoming.
Boy,
a
I'll get a
postage
couple
stamp.
sheets, John.
Yep, me too. Widely regarded as the most
Ow. You're a little eager there, Joe. Slow down.
widely regarded as the most famous and influential boxer of all time and a cultural force who fused athletic brilliance with political conviction and showmanship. He's being honored with a commemorative U.S. postage stamp. Is the champ's wife of nearly 30 years, Lonnie Ali, said, as sort of the guardian of his legacy, "I'm thrilled, I'm excited, I'm ecstatic." Ali became a lightning rod in culture wars that erupted in the 60s and 1970s. He was outspoken about his beliefs when many black Americans were still fighting for their rights. Born Cassius Clay Jr., he changed his name after converting to Islam in the 1960s, spoke openly about race, religion, and war. In 1967, he refused to be inducted into the U.S. Army, citing his religious beliefs and
What did he say?
opposition.
What did he say on that occasion, John?
What did
When he
say on that?
refused to be inducted?
I don't know.
I ain't got nothing against no Viet Cong.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. I got nothing against no Viet Cong. That stance cost Ali his heavyweight championship title and barred him from boxing for more than 3 years. Convicted of draft evasion, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison, but remained free while appealing. The conviction overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1971. Later in life, Ali emerged as a global humanitarian, used his fame to promote peace, religious understanding, and charitable causes, even as Parkinson's disease limited his speech and movement. He became a beloved figure to many, in contrast to the vitriol he had encountered from his various political stances earlier in his life.
Hands down, the most interesting sports figure I ever met.
And he got it, especially when toward the end of his life when he did that 60 Minutes interview with Ed Bradley.
He faked like he was going to hit him.
And he faked like he was going to hit him. That was so beautiful. And he told Hondo the magician, I don't know how you do this, but you are the devil.
He had what a lot of big-time athletes don't have. Vulnerability in his eyes. He was there was somebody in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
A rare copy of the comic book that introduced the world to Superman.
This one I
was waiting
don't
for your
understand.
sign. I'm waiting for your sign.
No, I saw this story. Wait till you hear the number that John's going to give you.
This particular comic was one stolen from the home of actor Nicolas Cage.
Oh.
It was recovered and now has been sold for a record $15 million.
Sounds like a national treasure.
The private deal for Action Comics #1 was announced Friday. It eclipses the previous record price for a comic book set last November when a copy of Superman #1 was sold at auction for $9.12 million. The Action Comics sale was negotiated by Manhattan-based Metropolis Collectibles Comic Connect, which said the comic book's owner and the buyer wished to remain anonymous. The comic, which sold for a dime when it came out in 1938, was an anthology of tales about mostly now little-known characters, but over a few panels it told the origin story of Superman's birth on a dying planet, his journey to Earth, and his decision as an adult to turn his titanic strength into channels that would benefit mankind. Its publication marked the beginning of the superhero genre. About 100 copies of Action Comics #1 are known to exist, according to Metropolis Collectibles. The president of Metropolis, Vincent Zurzolo, said this is among the holy grail of comic books. Without Superman and his popularity, there'd be no Batman or any other superhero comic book legends. Its importance in the comic book community shows with his deal as it obliterates any previous records.
You have a question that you might have just answered.
Yes, sir.
You called it what now? Action #1?
Action Comics #1.
Does that mean it was the first ever one printed or just part of a series that was considered series #1? Get what I mean?
I don't get what you mean.
Well, in other words, if you had a Sports Illustrated from the first year of its publication, but you wouldn't have #1, you would just have one from the first year.
I see what you're saying. No, it just means, I think
this means one from the first year.
From the first run of books.
From the first run.
Think of a book,
Yeah.
if it's a first edition.
Right.
It's just from that first printing. So
Right.
there's however many they printed in that first printing, and there are only 100 left.
Okay, but let's say they printed 1,000.
Okay.
And there's 100 left. What this guy paid $15 million for was one of the 100.
Correct.
Not the first one of the 100.
No.
He just got one of the 100 that are left.
Correct.
Okay.
One of the first editions.
I would remain anonymous, too, for fear of being thought a fool, rather than say my name and have it become true.
He's probably I shouldn't say he, that's assuming, but whoever it is probably very rich, Joe, don't you think?
I would think so, John. I doubt if he went to the bank and got a loan for this.
He's doing quite well.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be a guy because a woman would never pay that much for a item like that.
Either would I.
Well, you kind of.
What are you doing then? You get your buddies come over and
you put it behind glass.
You look at it.
Hey, there it is.
I don't think you let your fingers touch it, Joe.
No.
Seriously. And there's plenty of reprints of that comic.
Yeah.
So if you want to read it, just buy a reprint and put this one behind glass.
That's amazing. That is truly amazing.
Serious question: were the Superman things serious and not funny? Just they were a series of.
Yes,
Superman fighting crime.
Yeah, he solved crimes. Went in the phone booth, changed his outfit.
And was this prior to the Superman the Superman movies were made as a result of the Superman comic?
Sure.
That's where Superman was invented.
That's right, man.
Sure.
Got it.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
I read Superman comics in the 60s, well before the movies.
Superman
Although
was
there
a TV show.
in the 50s, yeah.
Faster than a speeding bullet.
You were doing that while I was hanging out with the Herb Alpert whipped cream lady, huh?
I told you, there's
Got
a
it.
50th anniversary.
There wasn't any racy Superman stuff or anything like that, huh?
Oh, Lois
Probably
was
why I didn't.
Lois was a looker.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Lois Lane.
Yeah, Lois Lane.
Got it.
You was something else. John, thank you very much.
Oh, couldn't you keep going? I'm almost done with this International Harvester documentary.
Do you need another one of those?
I love that. Oh, what are you going to do here? It's Monday.
I've been trying to not talk about fraud every day, but there's one that really interests me.
What do you got?
That school bus fraud out in Roseville, where they had the parking lot and a little shack, and they weren't doing anything. According to Alpha News, the guy who signed the contract on behalf of the public schools in Minneapolis, Ibrahima Diop, the finance boss at the Minneapolis Public Schools, has been placed on administrative leave. He's the one which means he still gets paid.
Right.
Which means he's the one who apparently extended the contracts to Frontier Transportation. And they were supposed to haul around homeless and highly mobile students.
Yeah. Okay.
And we can find no evidence that they really ever
Picked one up.
did that. Yeah.
So if you're going to follow the money on this, it would go from the school district, right?
Yep.
To the bus company.
Right.
Back to this guy.
Well, that's the
and
theory.
then off to Somalia.
Right. That's the theory.
Yeah.
Their bookkeeping was misleading, it says here, and purposefully opaque. I imagine it was. According to records, Diop signed off on a contract increases of $1 million, $1.5 million. It kept going up, and I guess Diop was making $240,000 a year. No. Well, local media in he left here and he got a job in Milwaukee public schools, and that was for $240,000 a year. But see, it's an Alpha News story, so it didn't print all I needed.
Oh, these margins were off.
I can give you the info that
I
you
wish you
need
would, John.
if you'd like. It says local media in Milwaukee reported the Milwaukee Public Schools hired Diop as its new deputy superintendent at a salary of $240,000 a year.
Well, he moved up to the Super Club.
Yeah. But apparently he was hired on December 18th before he was placed on administrative leave in Minneapolis for allegedly failing to submit the paperwork, etc. And however, once it was publicly revealed that Diop was placed on leave in Minneapolis, Milwaukee Public Schools said he would not be joining the district, citing new information, according to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel.
Well, it sounds like he's as crooked as an old shepherd's stick.
I never tire of that reference. You know, I don't even know what it means, but I never tire of it.
This whole transportation thing was a scam. So there you have it. Very interesting, isn't it, folks?
Yeah, it is.
Now, I have another example. I keep saying the country's so divided. It's based on Americans now judge things based on their ideology. I can give you an example that doesn't involve Trump.
Please.
This Chuck Mangione guy who shot the health insurance guy.
Eyebrow man.
What's his name?
Luigi
Mangione.
Yep.
You've got fan clubs for him.
I hate that.
But the ideology is anti-capitalism, healthcare rips you off, bing, bang, boom, on and on and on. So they don't see the murder. They see the ideology of a hero who went after health insurance.
That's tough to get.
So this country is losing its sense of the law, right and wrong, moral clarity, ethical behavior. This guy, we all saw him on film shoot the guy.
He gunned him down.
From
behind like a coward.
And he has, he has fans.
But the fact that the media keeps reporting on that he has fan clubs and that kind of stuff is really they should leave that alone.
Now, where ideology might not be in play, but something else would be what's his name? Einstein?
Epstein.
The Epstein files. You know. Well, in other words, those aren't being taken care of either. Those aren't being. We're not clearing that up.
Okay.
Because we keep inventing new legal tricks to avoid having to reveal what those things were really about. Those Epstein files.
Right.
So I don't know where that lies in the adherence to ideology theory. I suppose people who are opposed to Trump would like the Epstein files revealed because they believe that might catch Trump in something untoward. And those who like Trump believe that the Epstein files are meaningless and fake.
But if you throw
what are they?
If you throw the net over all that, you might get Trump here or there, but you're going to catch a bunch of Democrats as well.
Well, you're going to catch too many important people. So somebody's exerting a lot of power to keep this it's a pea under a cup that keeps being moved around, and you're never going to.
And you really give a rat's behind.
Did Bill Clinton have his own suite there, or is that just a rumor?
I think he had his own. He had his own cottage. I think
little pool in this indoor pool on the side there with the white
Bill
bikini.
Clinton suite. It was just a big room full of small closets, right?
Yeah. I think so.
And then there were doors between the closets.
Yes.
So you could
escape pods in case you needed to make it quick.
One kink to
exit,
the next.
if you know what I mean.
You know who's making his debut shortly? His debut of his new knee.
Oh,
Patrick's going to try to make it.
I did not know
he's
in
going to
person.
try to make it here in person. Today.
On purpose.
You
Hey.
out there? I'm here. He's here.
I can hear him.
He's here.
He sounds great with the new knee.
It's amazing.
Improved his vocals.
Everyone's fulfilled their obligations, Gabe. So we can just tell you that they come to us all the way from.
Where are they now?
Kaiwaka, New Zealand.
That's where I knew it was over there.
The Traveling Lyman's Worldwide Waftage. Do you want to hear a weird stat? Hey, Pat, you want to hear a weird stat that I heard on the radio? I'm ready. In the Vikings' 4 Super Bowls, they never scored a point in the first half. Isn't that a beauty?
I think Pat knew that already.
Yeah, he probably did.
Only one game in which they trailed 2-0.
Only because they. Okay.
Now he's doing the show.
Yeah, just hold on there, fella. Only because they come to us all the way from Kaiwaka, New Zealand, the home of the Traveling Lymans.
Yes.
They're on land for a while. You can see them and visit them at worldwidewaftage.com on this day.
January 12th.
1816.
Excuse me.
Willis A. Gorman was born in Flemingsburg, Kentucky. He was appointed second territorial governor of Minnesota in 1853 and later served in the legislature. He commanded the 1st Minnesota Volunteer Infantry Regiment in the Civil War and was St. Paul's city attorney from 1869 until his death on May 20, 1976.
Wow, pretty long life.
Not really, 60. On this day,
okay, the 60 back then.
January 12th.
1840, Governor James D. Doty of Wisconsin Territory, which included part of the future state of Minnesota, wrote to the U.S. Secretary of War protesting an extension of the Fort Snelling military reservation and asking how the federal government can take land by the simple declaration that it is necessary for military purposes. We got a guy doing that now.
Yeah, very ironic.
And without consent of the territorial legislature. The protest was in vain, and military authorities eventually expelled squatters living in the fort area, causing many of them to move to the site that would become St. Paul. So we're a bit like Australia. We were just kind of the cast-offs. St. Paul was founded by the cast-offs that were out at Fort Snelling. On this day,
They're like
January
lepers.
12th.
1876, the Minnesota Forestry Association was formed to work for the passage of conservation laws to protect the state's forests. At one time boasting 10,000 members, the association proved so successful.
How successful was it?
That state agencies and civic groups took on its activities, and in 1948, the group voted itself out of existence. On this day,
January 12th.
in 1888, a major blizzard struck the state, hitting western Minnesota especially hard and causing the deaths of between 100 and 150 people, many of them children on their way home from school. We had a bad blizzard on this day in history last week that killed many people. And on this day,
January 12th.
in 1913, in a milestone of Minnesota's transportation history, Alexander T. Heine flew the first airplane over Minneapolis.
Huh.
Yeah. On this day in sports...
The plane.
On this day in sports
Smiles,
disappointment
everyone.
history.
Smile.
Thank you, Mr. Rourke.
On this day in Minnesota sports disappointment history.
January 12th.
On this day in 1975, the Vikings lost one of those Super Bowls, Super Bowl IV, to Pittsburgh in New Orleans. The guy in the other room and me were in the building. I believe it was played at Tulane Stadium.
Yes, it is.
Thank you, GLers.
Yes. All right, folks, if you want to go to garagelogic.com, there is a plethora of information where you can find some of the backlogged podcasts that we have. You can also check out the shop, the potential shop. We got stuff. We got all sorts of stuff going on. And don't forget, you can also check out Rookie's recipes for the Super Bowl. You got something coming up? Check out some of the extras on the Garage Logic website. Learn about other shows like the Krabby Coffee Shop, Mishki's podcast, the Scramble, all sorts of great stuff. And don't forget that you need to tell your friends about the podcast. The podcast is alive and well. Speaking of another podcast coming up, Monday Night Sports Talk with Sue Shereen Royce is going to be the next one that you hear. GarageLogic.com.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.